Hi everyone, this video is going to go over questions 4 through 6. And so let's take a look at this first one. This one should look familiar to you, but we're subtracting polynomials here. We're subtracting this whole thing from this, which means because we're subtracting, we are going to distribute this negative sign through the parentheses because we're going to subtract 7x squared, and then we're going to subtract a negative 6x cubed. If we subtract a negative 6x cubed, that is going to become plus 6x cubed. And so once we've done that, we can combine our like terms. So we have 3x to the 5th power. There's no other 5th power out there. There's no 4th power, so we're going to look next at our 3rd power, or cubed. 8x plus 6x is 14x cubed. And then we have our minus 7x squared. There are no other squared terms, so that one remains by itself. Your answer is therefore C. Number 5, which points are on the graph of the equation? So for this one, remember this is your x and this is your y, right? And so what we can do is we can plug these numbers in and see which of them work, right? Now note that this part of the PARCC is a non-calculator section, which means you would need to calculate. So if the sentence is true, then that means these are solutions. So if I plug in negative 3 times negative 3 plus 6 times 6 plus 5, is that going to equal negative 7? Well, just looking at that, I can tell you that absolutely that will not, because this alone is 36. And 36 plus 5 minus, actually it's going to be a plus 9, is not going to equal negative 7. So we know that that is not going to work. Negative 2, so negative 3 times negative 2 plus 6 times 0 is just going to be 0, plus 5 equals negative 7. We are going to get here negative 3 times negative 2 is going to give us positive 6, plus 5 is not negative 7. That does not work. All right, let's try 0 and negative 2. So 0, negative 3 times 0 is 0, plus 6 times negative 2, plus 5 equals negative 7. That's going to be 0 here, so that cancels out. Minus 12, 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. Negative 12 plus 5 is negative 7, so that works. Now it says select all that apply, which means I can't stop there. So let's try plugging in 6 here. Negative 3 times 6 plus 6 times negative 3 plus 5 equals negative 7. I can tell right away. This is negative 18, and negative 18 is negative 36. So that's no way going to equal negative 7. And then negative 3 times 8 plus 6 times y is 2 plus 5 equals negative 7. It's going to be negative 24 plus 12 plus 5 is going to be negative 24 plus 17. That does in fact equal negative 7. So E is our other answer option. All right. Now again, remember this is a non-calculator section, so you would actually need to calculate these and check to see if they work or not. All right, which factorization can be used to reveal the zeros of the function? All right, so it's asking us how do we factor this. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the negative. You can also just by looking at this probably cross off that. That's not going to work, right? And I'm going to go ahead and factor this. So I'm going to factor out negative, and it's going to be 12n squared. Now, if I factor out a negative, I have to factor it out of the entire thing. And notice this was a mistake some of you were making earlier. So this is plus 11n and minus 15. And I can check it because if I distribute the negative, it becomes negative 12n, negative 11n, and positive 15, right? So I know that I did that correctly. Then I'm going to factor the rest of this. And so I want to multiply a times c, right? And then figure out what multiplies to give me that, and that will add up to equal 11. So we have 12 times 15, so 10 carry the 1, 60, 0, 2, 1, so 180. So we're looking for what equals 180 and adds up to be 11. that's going to be 20 and 9, right? So a positive 20 and a negative 9. So I'm going to rewrite this as negative 12. Oh, sorry. Nope. I'm only looking. 12n squared plus 20n minus 9n minus 15. All right, and so I'm going to put that into my squares and reverse. So 12n squared, 20n, negative 9n minus 15. All right, so the greatest thing that can come out of here is going to be 3n. And then over here will be plus 5. That means this will be 4n, and this will be minus 3. Okay, so we will have 4n minus 3 and 3n plus 5. So that will be, which one of these here? So interestingly, it looks like in this case, they actually kept the negative distributed, so this one is equal to that because negative 4n and then the negative times the negative gives us plus 3, so they distribute that negative through there. And so this means that B is going to be our best answer here. Because they didn't take the negative out the way that I did. The other way that you could check this is you can go ahead and FOIL this, right? So I went ahead and did the factoring work myself, but for you, I would just say it depends on what you're more comfortable doing. If you're more comfortable factoring, go ahead and factor it yourself, or you can multiply through. So you can do your FOIL method. You get negative 12n squared minus 20n, and then plus 9n and plus 15. So this gives you negative 12n squared minus 11n plus 15. That is equal, so you know that that works. So you can do it that way. You can, again, FOIL this here and try that way. What's going to happen here is you're going to get a negative 15 because 5 times 3 is 15, but when you distribute the negative, it'll be negative 15, and so that's where it won't be true here because this is a positive 15. And then here you'll end up with negative 12n squared. You'll end up with negative 9n plus 20n, so you'll end up with a positive 11n, and in the middle we need to have a negative 11n. Okay, so you can go forwards or backwards, whichever way is easiest for you. I went ahead and factored myself, but again, if you want to multiply through, you can try that. So that's numbers 4, 5, and 6. In the next video, I will go over number 7.